Hey folks, my name is Dima. I'm a senior web developer based in Berlin. I've got more than 8 years of experience across different companies. I've been through many interviews myself and conducted plenty as an interviewer too. On this channel, we talk about passing front-end interviews and advanced front-end topics in general. If you're preparing to an interview or working on your career as a web developer, you will find some really good stuff here. Today, I want to discuss pet projects for developers. Pet projects, I believe, is a very overlooked topic. When it comes to resumes, people usually do one of two things. They either add whatever projects they happen to have, or they leave the project section completely empty. Both approaches are not good. I want to offer a different perspective, thinking about pet projects more consciously and strategically. In this video, we will look at when pet projects make sense, when they don't, and how to build them properly. Let me tell you what I see constantly. Pet projects listed at the end of CVs across all experience levels. Junior developers, mid-level, even senior developers with 10+ years of experience. The same question, what pet projects should I have? There is this universal assumption that they are always beneficial for career growth. And here's the thing, this assumption is wrong. I've been on both sides of this. I've built pet projects myself and I've interviewed dozens of developers who had them on their CVs. What I've learned is that pet projects can be incredibly valuable for some developers and completely irrelevant for others. And in some cases, they can even hurt your chances to get a job. So here's the reality. Pet projects are not equally important for all developers. Their value heavily depends on your current experience level. Junior developers can benefit significantly from them, while senior developers might not get any benefits at all. And sometimes they can even work against you. And there is another factor that most people ignore completely. The significance of pet projects depends on your target company. A startup and, for example, Google or any other big tech company are looking for completely different things. Let's start with junior developers. Junior developers face a unique challenge, a credibility gap. You might have 1 to 2 years of experience, but if it's from companies that aren't well known in the industry, hiring managers simply can't evaluate the quality of that experience. I know this personally because when I started out, I worked at a small company that nobody had heard of. Here's what happens. You apply to jobs and the hiring manager looks at your CV. They see 2 years of experience at XYZ company, but they have no context. Was XYZ company a place with high standards and code reviews? Or was it a place where anything goes and technical debt piles up? They simply don't know. This creates a credibility gap. Your experience might be excellent, but there is no way for outsiders to verify that. You could have been working on cutting-edge problems with a fantastic team, but if the company isn't recognizable, your experience is not taken into account. And this is where pet projects become valuable. According to industry research, 65% of hiring managers consider personal projects important in their hiring decisions. That's a significant number. Pet projects solve the credibility problem by providing direct, available evidence of your abilities. When a hiring manager can click a link and actually use your application, see your code, and review your documentation, they get direct insight into your skills. It's not longer about trusting that your previous company has good standards. They can evaluate your work directly. Companies can see working code and live applications. They can demonstrate skills that might not be obvious from your CV alone, and they show initiative and passion beyond just working requirements. This is why pet projects are particularly powerful for junior developers. They are not just showing off, they are providing proof of competence that would otherwise be difficult to demonstrate. Let's talk about what actually makes a good pet project, because this is where most people get it wrong. First, you need a real deployed applications accessible on the internet. You can use something like Heroku, Vercel, Fly.io, and other platforms that make deployment easy. And here's the truth. Nobody going to clone your repository and run it locally. That's asking too much of busy hiring managers and engineers. No one has time to dig through code repositories line by line, especially when they are reviewing dozens of candidates. Your project needs real functionality that solves actual problems, not just demos. You need a proper CI/CD pipeline showing automated testing and deployment, comprehensive documentation with setup instructions and architecture decisions, test coverage demonstrating code quality and reliability practices. And here's something that came out of industry research. Interviewers commonly use pet projects as conversation starter. It's much easier for an interviewer to dive into a discussion about a system you built rather than asking only abstract technical questions. Modern deployment tools make all of this easy, so there is really no excuse for not having a live project anymore. What makes a bad pet project? On the flip side, let me tell you what doesn't work. Code repositories without live demos. Projects requiring local setup and installation, employers usually don't have time for this. GitHub only showcases with no deployment. Applications with no documentation or README file. Mock applications with fake data that serve no real purpose. Also remember that quality is more important than quantity. It is better to have one excellent project than many mediocre ones. A poorly executed project can reflect negatively on your skills. In fact, hiring leads have noted that it's better to have no website than one that looks bad or is broken, because an ugly, non-functional project will hurt your chances more than help. Also, you should avoid the AI-generated look. And here's something that became a real problem in 2025. Most AI-generated projects use similar technical stack and patterns, like Next.js, Shadcn UI, Tailwind CSS has become the default toolkit. And this matters because it doesn't demonstrate actual development skills, only vibe coding skills. It shows you can prompt AI but not solve complex problems. It fails to differentiate you from other candidates because everybody has access to these tools. Here's the thing, there is nothing wrong with using AI tools. I use them myself and I recommend you use them too. But if your entire project screams, "I'm AI generated," it doesn't tell me much about your actual development capabilities. When I'm interviewing someone, I'm not looking for someone who can effectively prompt AI tools, even if it's certainly valuable. I'm looking for someone who can think through problems, make architectural decisions, and write maintainable code. So my recommendation, never release projects you can't discuss in technical depth. Previously, I said that no one would read your code, but that's not entirely true. As a technical interviewer, I can read your code, and I probably will. I emphasize the importance of having a real project deployed somewhere, because before anyone reads your code, you need to stand out. To get the attention of the people who screen resumes, you need to have that real project. So how can you make your code look less like it was generated by AI? Let me give you some concrete advices. First, focus on code quality and decisions. Instead of Next.js, use Next.js, Svelte, or Astra, or any other modern framework, and be able to explain why you choose them. For junior developers, it might actually be better to use the same framework as your target company, so you can have more specific conversations about it. Choose unique combinations that show thoughtful technology selection. You should be able to explain each tool in your package.json and why you picked it over alternatives. Remove obvious AI-generated comments and boilerplate. Add meaningful documentation explaining architectural choices. Implement proper error handling and user experience considerations, things like loading state, error state, empty states. Write tests, at least for the most important use cases. Maintain your project. Fix broken links, update documentation. And if you want to go extra mile, set up monitoring, logging, and production-ready configurations. As a result, your project immediately looks handmade and demonstrates real engineering judgment. It shows that while you may have used AI as a tool, which is smart, you are driving the architectural and implementation decisions. Here's something that many developers haven't fully grasped yet. We're experiencing a fundamental shift. The ability to write code is becoming commonplace thanks to AI tools. Many people can now generate functional code using AI assistants. But what AI can't do yet is make the higher-level decisions about how software should be architected, deployed, tested, and maintained in production environments. The distinctive skills are the ones around and beyond code. Understanding the complete software deployment lifecycle matters more than ever. So what skills still matter? System architecture and design. how to structure complex applications, DevOps and deployment, setting up reliable infrastructure, testing strategies, what to test, how to test, balancing coverage versus speed, documentation and communication, explaining technical decisions clearly, performance optimizations, understanding bottlenecks and scaling concerns, security considerations, implementing proper authentication, authorization, and data protection. Focus your pet projects on demonstrating these higher-level engineering skills. So what about senior developers? This is where things get really interesting because for senior developers, the value of pet projects depends entirely on where you're trying to get a job. It's not a universal yes or no. Let's start with big companies. If you're applying to work at Microsoft, Google, Amazon, or any other large tech company, your small side project actually don't matter much. In fact, they might even work against you in some cases. Large companies operate at a completely different scale and have completely different challenges. They are not looking for someone who can build a product from scratch. They have established product with millions of users. They need people who can improve, optimize, and scale existing large systems. They need experience with distributed systems and millions of users. They focus on system optimization, large team collaborations. Small project experience simply doesn't translate to enterprise-scale challenges. They are more interested in leadership, mentoring, and high-level technical decisions. When big companies interview senior developers, they ask questions like, tell us about your biggest technical accomplishment. Describe handling a major system failure. How did you optimize a system serving millions of users? Pet projects typically can provide these types of experience stories. But we have cases when pet projects can help senior developers. For example, startups could be completely different. If you are a senior developer targeting startups, small companies, or early-stage companies, having side projects can be valuable. Startups value end-to-end product experience. Side projects show you understand the full product lifecycle. They prove you can build, launch, and operate complete products. They show understanding of user acquisition and product-market fit challenges. As a startup CEO or early employee, I want to hire people who understand the full product development lifecycle. If you have built and operated your own product, even a small one, you understand challenges that can be learned in a big company environment. So let me break down the difference in thinking between these two types of companies. From a startup perspective, they are looking for people who understand the complete product journey. They value experience with resource constraints and rapid iteration. They need people with the ability to wear multiple hats. They appreciate understanding of user feedback loops and market validation. Side projects demonstrate relevant problem-solving experience. When I'm hiring for a startup, I'm thinking, this person has built and operated their own product. They have been through the entire process, from initial idea to handling real users. They understand user acquisition challenges, product market fit struggles, resource constraints, and technical depth trade-offs. But from a big company perspective, their thinking is completely different. They're operating at massive scale with millions of daily users. They have complex distributed systems across multiple data centers. They need experience with enterprise-level architecture and optimizations. They focus on team leadership and cross-functional collaboration. For these companies, system-level thinking is more important than individual project execution. Big companies want stories about handling massive scale. They care about experience with complex distributed systems. Leadership and mentoring experience becomes more valuable. And here's the key point. Pet projects can simulate these large-scale challenges. When you're working at a big company as a senior developer, the impact you can have is massive. A single technical decision might affect millions of users simultaneously. System optimizations can save millions in costs. Architecture choices influence entire engineering organizations. Pet projects, no matter how well built, simply can't provide experience at this scale. And that's why big companies focus on your professional experience rather than side projects. The next question is how to find good project ideas and what to avoid. Let's talk about finding good project ideas because this is where a lot of people go wrong. Here's what to avoid. Mock applications with fake data and no real users. Even if you are the only user, that's better than fake data. Other types of applications you should avoid are another to-do lists, blocks, or e-commerce clone. Complete clones of existing popular applications and tutorial-following projects. The problem with all of these projects is that they don't solve real problems, and they don't differentiate you from other candidates, because everyone has built a to-do list. Here's the better approaches. Solve your own daily problems. Automate tasks you actually do regularly and add a UI to them. Extract single features. Build one useful feature from expensive SaaS tools. Create personal utilities, code formatters, analyzers, or tools tailored for your workflow. Address niche problem solving, specific pain points in your domain or interests. Build developer tools, something that can improve your own development process. For example, you can build a personal code analyzer that formats code to your exact style preferences using AI. Or maybe you're paying $20 to $40 a month for a bloated app but only need one feature. Clone that one feature and wrap a small app around it. The key is to build something that you would actually use or that solves a problem you really have. This makes the project more authentic and you will be more motivated to finish it properly. Beyond pet projects, there are other ways to show your skills, and sometimes this works even better. Open source contributions show collaboration skills, code review experience, and working with large code bases. Speaking and teaching, conference talks, meetups, workshops, all of these things shows communication and leadership. And collaborative projects. Working with others demonstrates teamwork and project management skills. Why can these be more valuable? They demonstrate soft skills that are crucial for all levels of developers. They show ability of work with others and communicate complex ideas. They provide evidence of leadership and community involvement. They are often more impressive to hiring managers than just solo projects. No matter what side project you have, keep it hobby-sized. Here's something most people don't think about. You need to keep your side projects hobby-sized. If your side project has millions of users or significant revenue, this can actually create problems. Interviewers may worry about your priorities. It suggests you might be distracted during work hours. It raises questions about whether you're really looking for full-time employment. It can appear like you are managing two full-time responsibilities. If an interviewer fears your true passion lies in your side business, they might question your commitment to the job they are offering. So here's the right approach. Present yourself as a curious developer who builds things in spare time. Focus on learning, experimentation, and skill development. Emphasize the technical challenges and solutions, not business metrics. Keep projects at a scale that represents hobby-level involvement. Position your project as evidence of technical curiosity and continuous learning, not as your main priority. You can emphasize that your project is something you scratch on weekends or something you haven't touched recently. This signals that you are a creative and driven individual without implying the project would interfere with your responsibilities. So let me summarize everything we have covered today. For junior developers, we say yes to pet projects. Build and showcase pet projects. Deploy them live with proper CI/CD, testing, and documentation. Avoid AI-generated appearance by choosing unique technical stack. Focus on demonstrating complete development lifecycle understanding. Use projects to bridge the credibility gap from limited professional experience. For senior developers, it depends. For startups, side projects are available for showing product experience. For big companies, focus on large-scale professional experience instead. Consider alternative strategies like open source, writing, and speaking. Match your approach to your specific career target and goals. The key takeaway here is that there is no universal answer. You need to match your strategy to your experience level and career destination. Here are 6 project ideas ranked by complexity. Each one is designed to showcase different developer skills that can really impress interviewers. Let's start with our most approachable project, the Advanced Form Builder with dynamic validation. The MVP includes drag-and-drop interface with basic form elements, visual form builder with real-time preview, conditional logic to show and hide fields based on values, custom validation rules with regex support, form submission handling with webhook integration, and the ability to export forms as embeddable JavaScript. Why is this impressive for interviewers? It demonstrates mastery of interactive interfaces, state management, and user experience design. Moving to the next project, the Code Quality Analytics Platform. The MVP includes features like GitHub integration to analyze repositories, core metrics calculation, including code complexity, code duplication, and technical debt ratio, a simple dashboard showing file-level and project-level health scores, basic trend analysis showing complexity over time via Git history, and the ability to export as JSON or CSV. This project can prove your think about code maintainability and team productivity, exactly the concerns senior developers should have. The next one, the local-first dashboard with offline data visualization. The MVP includes IndexedDB integration for local data storage, CSV and JSON data import, 3-4 chart types with virtualization for large datasets, offline-first architecture with sync capabilities, and web workers for heavy data processing. Why is this impressive? It demonstrates knowledge of offline-first patterns and PWA concepts. Data visualization proves ability to work with complex data and create meaningful insights. Also, the project shows understanding of browser APIs, workers, and advanced front-end concepts. Moving to our more advanced projects, the AI-powered front-end component generator. Text input where you input component description in natural language. AI processing with OpenAI API to generate code. Component creation generating React or Vue components with styling and preview. An expert feature where you can copy code or download files for immediate use. This is impressive because it shows you're exploring cutting-edge AI and ML integration in front-end development. Another cool option is the ML-powered code review assistant. The MVP features includes GitHub webhook integration for new pull requests, role-based analysis covering linting, security, patterns, and best practices, a bot that comments on PR with suggestions, and a basic web dashboard to configure rules and view analytics. It shows you're staying current with ML trends and can integrate complex systems. It demonstrates understanding of developer workflow and pain points. Most importantly, it proves you think about efficiency and scaling team processes. This is the most challenging and demanding project, the Multi-Cloud Resource Manager. The MVP connects to AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform, where API provides a unified views of virtual machines, databases, and storage across providers, includes basic cost tracking and alerts, and offers a dashboard with cost optimization suggestions. This shows enterprise thinking and understanding of real-world business infrastructure challenges. It demonstrates ability to work with complex third-party API and addressing cost optimization. So how do you choose? Consider 3 key factors. Your current skills. Pick one that leverages your strengths. Target role. Match the project to your job requirements. Available time. Consider your timeline and commitment level. Remember, the best project is one you're passionate about and can complete to a high standard. It's better to finish a simpler but very polished project than to leave a complex one incomplete. So that's my take on pet projects. I hope this video helped clarify when they make sense and when they don't. The most important thing to remember is that pet projects are a tool, not a requirement. Use them strategically based on where you are in your career and where you want to go. And before you go, I would really appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button. I make videos rarely but consistently, so if you subscribe, you won't miss any new content. But there are no shorts or daily uploads here, so you definitely won't get spammed. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.